Hello, I'm Linda Willis and I'm here to talk about parent engagement. I've been researching in the area of parent engagement for around 10 years now. When we think about parent engagement, it's a good idea to get an understanding of what parent and engagement means. Parent, of course, can refer to a biological parent, but also to the carers and to the families who have primary care of a child for their well-being and for their learning. When we think of engagement, in the past we've typically used words like participation or parent involvement or parent partnership, even collaboration and cooperation. But engagement has a specific meaning. When you think about a car and when its gears are engaged, generally that means that they are meshing together, they fit together perfectly, and forward movement is possible when your car is in gear. The idea of engagement as well brings up connotations of a pledge or a moral commitment in the same way as when two people get engaged. So parent engagement has a specific meaning around the idea of parents being integral and essential to the processes around student learning and well-being. And oftentimes they are used interchangeably with words like involvement and participation, but they mean so much more. A partnership, for example, can sometimes mean a financial commitment, or that I turned up to a fete and I bought something. But engagement means that ongoing connection and commitment to student learning in schools. When we think about the importance of parent engagement, there are a number of drivers that are happening at the moment in the environment of schools. We've got the drivers of the Australian Professional Standards for Teachers. We've got APST 3.7, 7.3 and 5.5, which are about engagement in the educative processes, engagement in the assessment processes or reporting to parents, and the whole idea of parent, community and school engagement in terms of the networks that we might have and develop as teachers in schools. As well, we've got drivers such as the parent engagement is one of the 4 pillars of the Commonwealth Government's Students First policy. So it gives you a sense of the importance of parent engagement. And as well, it's one of ACE's 3 dimensions of the National School Improvement Tool. Dimension 3, which talks about school culture, and Dimension 9, which talks about school community partnerships. We've also got our peak principal bodies and parent bodies who are leading the way in terms of parent engagement at national and state levels. Queensland Government has a parent engagement and community framework, as well as our PNC's Queensland and PNF Federation in the Catholic Schools Education in Queensland as well. So you can see that parent engagement now has become a strong and clear focus for the work that's happening in schools across Australia and in Queensland. Parent engagement also reminds us to think about the idea that parents are children's first teachers. So parents, carers, families, long before teachers enter into the frame, they've been teaching the students that we meet in schools. They don't come as blank slates. So what does parent engagement then mean for you? And when you start to think about parent engagement in relation to the work that you'll do in schools? When I think about parent engagement, I think about a simple framework of what does it look like, what does it sound like, what does it feel like. When I think about what it looks like, to me it looks like contact, and oftentimes contact revolves around communication. Communication with our parents and carers is best if it's frequent, if it's often, if it's clear, etc. Ways that you can do that are informal opportunities and more formal opportunities, perhaps through a written newsletter, or perhaps through using social media like messaging or email, or Class Dojo or apps like Seesaw can also be helpful in keeping parents apprised of what is happening, but also about what students are learning. This is really important, especially as our students get into high school, where we tend to think that parents lose interest. But in fact, we know that parents never lose interest in their children. They're very engaged in what their children are doing and what they're learning, but they often need us to help explain some of the sorts of things that are happening in school. So that academic socialisation is actually a really important part of the work that we do. In terms of contact, one of the things I know that groups of teachers do is that they set aside time in their timetable for contacting parents each week, and they might give 5 parents a ring each week, and it's not to necessarily catch up on what's been happening behaviourally in the classroom, but maybe to let parents know about what's been going on that their children have been learning that's worth celebrating, or that they would think that a parent would like to know. When I think about what it sounds like, to me parent engagement is about invitation. Invite, invite, invite. And this is not just about inviting parents into the classroom so that they might help you and achieve your goals or the school's goals, but inviting them to help you to know about how you might teach their child better, remembering that they are the children's first teachers and that they have parent knowledge that you don't have. You have professional teacher knowledge, and together being able to combine those knowledges is an extremely powerful way to conceptualise the work that you might do in building a community of learners that includes parents as they assist you in your work as a teacher to be a better teacher. And then when I think about what it feels like, to me the idea of parent engagement feels like a relationship. That the relationship is one that's built on trust and respect, and going back to ideas of contact and invitation can assist you to build that relationship, so that when you are setting up a meeting with a parent, that it's something that is natural, it's a natural part of the work that you've been doing, and it's not scary for either you or the parents. And that relationship is something where if you get contact from a parent, that you don't immediately react, but you respond, and that you're proactive in the work that you do around thinking about parents and the ways that you can help them to become involved in their child's learning. Just recapping then, we've talked about parent engagement now having been a centrepiece of many of the policies which are impacting schools externally from a national and a state point of view. But more importantly, we've talked about the notion of engagement and why we use that word. The understanding is that engagement means that parents are inseparable, they are integral, and they are essential to the work that we do in schools in relation to student learning. And that as part of our communities of learners that we build, that we cannot leave parents out of the picture, that we must constantly search for ways to engage them in meaningful and purposeful ways that takes account of the parent knowledges that they can bring to the table to assist us to be better teachers of their children. A further take-home message was that simple framework that I gave you about what it looks like, sounds like, and feels like. What it looks like is contact. What it sounds like is invitation. What it feels like is relationship. I hope these ideas will assist you when you're thinking about parent engagement in schools in whatever context you might find yourselves. Thank you.